Good morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Joe Fitzwater with an update on the severe weather risk here as we head through this afternoon. It's kind of a case of good news and bad news. The good news is our severe weather risk overall is lowering because we have so much rain around. But the bad news is we're looking at the threats for some flooding issues here as we continue through this afternoon. Let's take a look at what's going on right now. We look at the current radar. Some very heavy rain has pushed through parts of our western areas, particularly across parts of Cabell and Putnam counties down toward parts of Wayne County. We're seeing what we call training taking place, where during the morning hours, some very heavy rain moved over the same areas over a couple of hour period. And because of that, we are starting to see some flooding reports come in. In fact, just to the south of Huntington, we do have a report of water in a house on 8th Street. That was reported around 9:30, so that was about 45 minutes before this video was produced. But look at some of these rainfall totals. Pretty impressive stuff that we're looking at here. Where you see the purples, that's where we've seen 3 inches of rain already. So we go down from parts of the Barbersville area, down in the southwestern parts of Cabell County. Again, this is south of Huntington, into northern parts of Wayne County. This is not too far from the Lavalette area, extending back toward parts of northern Lawrence County, far southeastern parts of Boyd County, and we're talking about 3 to 4 inches of estimated rainfall that has already taken place. Then on top of that, we're still seeing rain in this area. Now, thankfully, it is in a lighter form as the heavy rain is pushing itself to the east, northeast. But nonetheless, this is not going to allow those creeks and streams to drop very quickly in this area. So again, if we show those rainfall totals, where you see the yellows, that's where we've seen 1 inch of rain. Where you see the red, that's where we've seen 2 inches of rain. And where we've seen the purple, that's where we've seen that narrow stripe of 3 to 4 inches. And I would be willing to bet that there has definitely been some flooding issues in those areas where we've seen 2.5 to 3 inches of rain already here this morning. And unfortunately, we're looking at more chances for rain later on this afternoon. So we're not done with the rain just yet. Not so much in the way of heavy rain farther to the east. When you get toward the Charleston, the Clay areas, less than a half inch of rain so far, but there is heavy rain that is beginning to move its way farther to the east. So definitely brace yourself here. Nothing severe at this point, but nonetheless, probably a good wind gust or two, as well as that heavy rainfall threat going to continue here through the next couple of hours as this pushes its way through the area. So I wanted to take a look here as we head through this afternoon. We'll take a look at the high-res model so you can see exactly what's going on. This is at noontime, and you can see more scattered showers and thunderstorms going to be around. And this is going to be a threat that continues through the afternoon. And again, I'll explain and show why here in just a minute, but it just doesn't take much for these storms to fire up with the current pattern that we're going to be seeing here across the area here for this afternoon. It's not until we get a frontal system to cross through that we'll finally start to see things begin to calm down. But you can see this is going to be at 5 p.m. We're still seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area. 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and then things begin to calm down as we head toward around the 8 p.m. hour. With a few light showers. We'll still have some light showers pinwheeling around here as we head through the morning hours of your Saturday, and then I think we'll begin to see some improving conditions here as we make your way through Saturday afternoon. So again, let's take a look at what's going on here. Here's another way of looking at some stuff. Basically, what's going on is the flow, the mean flow or the average flow of these rain showers is basically in line with the flow of the atmosphere. And that's usually a bad setup. We look at some of the different wind heights. This is the 850 millibar wind height, which is at around 3,000 feet. We can also add a few of the other heights here. And you'll notice that they're all pretty close. They're almost all the same, actually. So there's not a lot of shear in the atmosphere. There's not a lot of wind direction change with height, but this does support some heavy rainfall to occur because these rain showers move over the same areas. And this is an issue that we're going to have to keep an eye on. We can look at a few other parameters. I'll take the radar off for a minute. This is a look at the current convective available potential energy, basically the amount of energy available in the atmosphere. And let's see if we can get this to load here. But there's not a ton of energy available for these storms, but it doesn't take much. Oh, it would probably help if I would actually load this. There we go. So you can see light blue, Yellow, that's not a ton of energy that's available, and there's very little here in our neck of the woods right now. We do expect there to be a little more energy available later on this afternoon. That could still support a strong storm or two, and that's why we still have the 2 out of 5 for severe weather across parts of West Virginia, across parts of eastern Kentucky. It's a 1 out of 5 farther up to the north. The primary risk is going to be the risk for damaging wind gusts, perhaps some hail. Can't rule out perhaps a tornado risk, but that threat overall is pretty low. In fact, we'll go through some of these risks. This is the tornado threat, so this is a 2% in the green, and you could see that's not too bad. Most of the area, it's a 5% in the yellow, and then you get farther down into parts of southeastern Virginia, northern parts of North Carolina. That's where we're looking at a 10% threat, but again, that threat does begin to increase as you head farther down to the south. We look at the hail threat. That's a 15% risk for parts of eastern Kentucky. South central parts of West Virginia, it is a 5% farther up to the north. And then we look at the probability for damaging wind gusts, again 15%, basically for areas along and south of US 33. It is a 30% farther down to the south across parts of Virginia and North Carolina. And that's where that enhanced risk is currently located. If I can get that to show back up here. There we go. So we have that enhanced risk across parts of North Carolina, Virginia, back down into Georgia, South Carolina. That's going to be the focal point for severe weather this afternoon. It's a little less farther up to the north in our area. But, again, we don't need a lot to see problems. And I'll show you why here real quickly if I can get this to load. I'll use a kind of a more broad product. That way we can see... it doesn't take as long for this to load. I don't have the fastest internet here in my apartment, but as soon as we can get this to load, you're going to see that there is a jet streak around. There it is. So as we head into this afternoon, we're going to have a bit of a jet streak around, and that is an enhancer of precipitation in our neck of the woods. So think about it as in like you go and squeeze a lemon, and you get a few drops out, and then you put it in a juicer, and it gets the rest of the juice out. And that's basically what this jet streak is going to do for us here today. It makes it really easy for storms to fire up. And that's why we're seeing those scattered showers and thunderstorms forming up so early in the morning. And that's why we're expecting more this afternoon that could still be on the stronger side, despite there not being a lot of instability parameters present here across the region. So that's kind of, I think, the best way of putting that is just comparing it to a juicer. But again, not a lot in the way of instability. In fact, we'll look at this really quickly. We do have a little bit of shear present here this afternoon, but it's not a lot. We do have some instability parameters in the form of some available energy, but these values are not really screaming at me. Notice that dry spot there in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So again, we could be looking at a small hail threat. We could be looking at a damaging wind gust threat. These shear values are pretty low for a tornado threat, if I'm being completely honest. So I don't want to completely rule that out, but that risk overall looks to be a lot lower than what we were looking at yesterday afternoon. So that's certainly some good news. But again, we could be looking at some significant flooding issues in a few isolated spots. We'll take a look at we'll look at the high-res product and see what it's kicking out in terms of precipitation. Let me get this to load. I didn't preload this. But there we go. So we get this to load. Let's give it a second to load here. But again, with those showers and thunderstorms trending over the same areas at times, that's a good setup for the potential for some flash flooding problems. Now, are we expecting anything like 2016? Absolutely not. But some localized high water issues certainly cannot be ruled out, and we've already been seeing that here this morning. So we go through this afternoon into the evening hours. I know it's a little hard to see, but you can see there are some areas, some isolated spots where we could see 2-3 inches of rain here before Saturday morning. You put that on top of some of the rain that's falling now, and that is going to cause some flooding issues. So that's something that we'll have to keep a very close eye on. Again, as we look at what's going on right now, we do have a flash flood warning. That continues through 1:30 this afternoon for parts of Cabell, Putnam, and Wayne counties. We'll see if more flash flood warnings get issued, but at this point, that doesn't seem necessary. We could see another flash flood warning box here across parts of central Roane and southern Jackson counties, and that's where we have seen that very heavy rain work its way through that area here over the last hour or so. But again, the rainfall has been heaviest farther back down to the south and west across parts of northern Wayne County, across parts of central Cabell County, and then back toward parts of Putnam County. And that's where we have seen some areas that have seen in excess of 3 inches of rain, and that would be indicated by the purples that you see on the screen. So to kind of wrap things up for you, we're looking at a little bit less of a threat for severe weather. The threat is still there just because that jet streak in the atmosphere is around, and that's going to kind of squeeze things out of the atmosphere, both on a heavy rainfall front as well as the risk for a couple of strong storms this afternoon. And then we're also looking at that heavy rainfall threat here as we head toward the dinner time hour. Basically, anywhere that sees a little bit of training like what we've seen this morning with this particular complex of storms across parts of Cabell County, Putnam County, and Wayne County are going to be subjected to the risk for some flash flooding issues. And it's actually thundering pretty good outside my apartment right now here in downtown Charleston. So it looks like more rain moving into the area, and we look at the radar, and that's a pretty nasty line of scattered showers and thunderstorms that's about to work its way into the capital city. So I hope this was a helpful video. We're going to continue to keep you updated on air and online at wwktv.com. I'll keep you updated on my Facebook page and on Twitter at MeteoJoe, and hopefully we'll have less activity. It looks like we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for this complex of storms across parts of Roane County, Calhoun County, Braxton County, and northern Clay County. So again, an active day of weather here across the region, and we'll continue to keep you updated. But for now, I'm meteorologist Joe Fitzwater. Hopefully you have a safe and you have a good afternoon. Big round of thunder.